Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Beyond the Spectrum.
What's up, guys? I'm Sherry. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Spectrum. Today we're going to talk about an important topic in the world of autism education and advocacy. We are going to talk about meltdowns in children with autism. In my opinion, meltdowns are probably one of the most misunderstood behaviors that children with autism exhibit. And today I want to spend time breaking down what they are, some things that cause them, and how we can support a child in that moment. So what is a meltdown? Let's give the technical definition. So it is an intense, involuntary reaction to a stressor. We will talk about what those stressors are in a little bit, but I wanted to highlight the word involuntary. It's an uncontrolled reaction. They are not doing this on purpose. It is involuntary. They are overwhelmed. Okay. And then just a simpler way to put it is there's so much going on in that moment that their brains cannot process it, and they're responding in the only way they know how, right? And then I just want to cover some things, something really important, which is the tantrum versus meltdown thing. They are not the same. Okay, a tantrum is often used to manipulate a situation to get what you want, whether it's an item or attention, whatever the case may be. Meltdowns, again, involuntary reactions to a stressor. It's not to get a reaction. It's not to get your attention. This is the only way they know how to respond to the situation at hand. Glad we cleared that up. Some things y'all could expect to see during a meltdown: physical aggression, so hitting and biting, and throwing things. You might see some self-injury, so they might bite themselves, hit themselves, bang their heads up against the wall, things like that. They might curse, cry, yell, scream. Bodies might shake in that situation. Yeah, those are some things that you might see during a meltdown. You probably won't see all of it at once, but it's just, you'll see them in variation. All right, so what are some causes to that can lead to a meltdown? So we can start with sensory overload. So I'm sure you guys have heard over and over again that some children with autism experience sensory sensitivity. So they could be sensitive to things like loud noises, bright lights, strong smells, textures that just that they don't like. These can all be things that overload their sensory system, which could lead to a meltdown. And then next you have the communication struggles. And I do want to point out that the communication struggles are not only for the nonverbal children, because we know that they struggle with communication, but there are verbal children with autism who struggle to express themselves, which leads to communication difficulties, which can lead to frustration, which could lead to a meltdown. And then we have changes in their environment or their schedules. So changes in the environment, new school, new house, working with new service providers. Those are all considered changes in their environment, which could lead to some anxiety and some confusion. And then changes in their schedules could be like if a child is used to doing something, like a child on the spectrum is used to doing something every single day, and they're not, something changes. That's a big change for them. It might not be big for you because you're able to cope with it, but it's really big for them, and they may struggle with coping with it, and it might lead to, again, confusion and anxiety, which could lead to a meltdown. And then you have emotional regulation. So some children with autism struggle with regulating their emotions, and if they are feeling big emotions, like if they are sad, if they're lonely, if they're grieving, if they're frustrated, if they're angry and they don't know what to do with these feelings, they pile up, and that can lead to a meltdown because there's so much going on and they're like, I do not know what to do with this. I'm gonna express myself in the only way that I know how, which is a meltdown. And then unmet needs can also lead to meltdown. So unmet needs can be like if they're hungry, if they're tired, if they want attention. Like let's say you're doing something and they want attention and you can't give them attention in that moment. Those are things that can lead to meltdowns as well. So what are you supposed to do during a meltdown? I got the answers. The first thing you should do for real though is like stay calm, a calm body and a calm voice, because as discussed earlier, there's a possibility that this child is going to be on 10. They're yelling, they're screaming. If you are responding to them with that same energy, you're not doing anything but prolonging the situation. You have to calm body, calm voice to let them know, you know, everything is going to be okay. Stay calm. Do not take it personal, because it's not about you. They're not doing this on purpose. They're responding the only way they know how. So make sure you're responding with empathy and understanding, right? Right. Offer a safe, quiet space. So if you don't have a cool down corner in your house for your child to calm down at, let's say if they're melting down in the living room, turn off the lights. Turn off the TV. So the sound is gone, the bright lights are gone. So you might be eliminating some of their sensory sensitivities right there, right? Move any like hard objects like tables, anything you might have that they could hurt themselves on in that specific room. Just push it to the other side of the room, and you know, give them a safe and quiet space, because at the end of the day, you just have to let it happen. You have to be there for reassurance, but you cannot speed it up. You just have to let it happen, right? And then, sorry, use simple and clear language. So we're not giving demands. We're not trying to make them pick up the things that they might have thrown on the floor. Not while they're melting down. That's things that you do after. During the meltdown, you're using clear language to let them know that they are safe. And if they're home, you're letting them know like, hey, you know, we're home, we're safe. Like, I'm here with you. I'm right here with you. That's it. You're providing reassurance. That's it. In the moment, reassurance, right? And then, avoid physical restraint. Do not physically restrain a child that's melting down if you don't absolutely have to. In extreme situations, you might have to, but if you can avoid it, please do, because children do not like to be, I don't know any children that like to be physically restrained, especially a child with autism during a meltdown. Don't do it unless you absolutely have to. Like, they are a complete danger to themselves or you while they're melting down. Then physical restraint is necessary, but please avoid it at all costs if you can. Thank you. So what do we do after a meltdown, right? It happened. The child is coming down. You're coming down. What's next? So you can expect emotional recovery. So after a child did all those things, they might be tired, and not necessarily sleepy, but just emotionally tired. They did a lot, and they might be embarrassed. They might feel guilty or ashamed about things that they said or did, like if they broke things or maybe said curse words or said mean things. They might feel ashamed and embarrassed about that. So the best bet for you is to approach them with lots and lots of empathy and understanding and patience. Be patient with them. Let them know that you empathize with them, and just consider it like a teachable moment as opposed to a moment for criticism. And then you have like the ability to process what just happened. So just processing the experience. And this is tricky. It can be tricky. It doesn't have to be, but you just have to be patient, because in some cases, you're not going to be able to process the experience right away. Like, as soon as the meltdown is over, the kid, like, you have to give the kid time. Like I said, they're emotionally drained. Give them some time. And then when it is time to process the experience, you can talk about what happened, like what led them to that point, and then some things that you both can do together and that the kid can do on their own to try to manage whatever they were feeling to avoid another meltdown, right? And then just some supportive and proactive stuff that you can do. Identify a kid's triggers. So what triggers them? What triggers cause meltdowns in this specific child or these specific children, right? And then you find those triggers and you find better ways to manage them, honestly. So yeah, meltdowns are definitely a very real part of autism, and we should not shame a child or criticize a child. It's a teachable moment. We just have to know when to do the teaching. And if this video was helpful for you and it was informative, just like, subscribe, share it, you know, all the beautiful things. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you have anything that you need me to clear up, anything that you need me to elaborate on, put it in the comments. I got you. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. It was great. I'll see you guys soon with another information video.